Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It's your host with the most. You're gonna hear a little youth give his speech in Jamaica, right? And it's something that was set up by UNICEF a couple of weeks ago, where over 300 kids gave graphic descriptions publicly about their experience being kids and life in Jamaica. I want you to hear one of this young man as he give his speech right now. And the reason why I won't show his face while he's giving his speech is because YouTube has changed its rules and laws and regulations again, and we must abide. So if you put children in your videos, you have to tell YouTube that this is a child's video, or they could deem it that the video was made for a child, children, or a children's audience. However, this is a grown people discussion that I want to have based on what this young man just said. So I will not use his image, I will only use his words. I want you to listen carefully and then we'll take it from there. I put him on the loudspeakers. Here we go.
Many of us are being beaten. Ladies and gentlemen, our fear is based on the heartbreaking reality that many of us are being bullied. Many of us are being beaten. Many of us are being sexually and emotionally abused. And we are being murdered. This violence started in the days of slavery, and to this day it continues. So I ask you, what are you doing to help break the cycle? One thing you can do is to listen to us. We are living with this violence every day. We are seeing it happen all around us, and we have a lot to say. Over the last 3 months, almost 300 children in 3 parishes spoke up about violence at sessions organized by UNICEF, the Office of the Children's Advocate, and Talk of Youth. We learned about the rights we have in the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and we reasoned about what it means to have these rights, like the right to share our thoughts as we are here doing today. Let me bring you into our world. I will now read some of the experiences of violence that were shared by children at these sessions. This is what they wrote in their own words. Number 1. Between the age of 5 to 10, I was exposed to physical abuse. It was a case where I had been beaten to the point where it felt like nothing to me. Her excuse for beating me so harshly was that she was trying to discipline me, but still it didn't cover up for her scars that are left from her gruesome disciplinary actions that are still haunting me today. Number 2, I have seen gunmen kill men. Number 3, I have been sexually abused by my father's friend. Number 4, I have seen parents verbally, emotionally, and physically abuse their child or children because of their reports. The children were told that they were worthless and would not turn out to be anything good in life. This left the children feeling unwanted, deserted, and some even started to feel suicidal. Number 6, my grandmother lives in a very bad community. Number 5, dear Prime Minister, where I live there are a lot of pedophiles, so I'm afraid of going to the shops when it's dark. Number 6, my grandmother
Facts.
And it can have a lasting impact.
Facts.
Children who have been traumatized by violence have higher risks of school dropout, drug abuse, depression, diabetes, heart disease, and involvement with violence and crime. I don't want to live in a Jamaica where the children are so hurt by violence that they grow up to hurt themselves or to hurt other people. Do you? Do you? Thank you.
So I'm making this video because today I'm sitting here minding my...
Alright, Nikki Z, big up yourself. Okay, so, people, listen. Y'all heard what the young man said, right? I could not have said it any better. But to hear it come from a young person's mouth directly, or young people's mouth directly. Now, these kids are between 5 to 10, and they're speaking up in the hundreds. You're talking about over 300 of them in a 3-month space. Do the maths. And this is going around different parts of Jamaica and listening to the kids give their account of how they're living, what they're dealing with, and what they're seeing and enduring on a daily basis. Now, like I said before, hurt people, hurt people. Alright? This cycle of hurt, this cycle of damage, it is going to have long-lasting effects on our society. There is no doubt about it. I'm of the impression that government is not trying to do too much for the people as far as stemming the violence goes. And I don't know why. We've beaten that subject to death. We've come up, we've pooled our intelligence together on SouFLoTV, and we have come up with many solutions that could be put in place. And they're real solutions, very doable solutions. Other societies have employed these solutions that have been put in place to make their society a bit safer. Or at least start to catch the right people that are committing certain offenses, and then we can punish them in the right and proper way and set examples so that others will have some kind of a deterrent. But if you can't even catch the people, if we're at a society now where it's like 70% of all murders are unsolved, that's staggering high, right? It gives murderers, or those with the intention to murder, or the mind frame that me can murder a boy and get away with it. Me know me can get away with it because 70% of the people here will do it, get away with it. Or 70% of the murders here are not solved. If somebody told me, playing the lottery, I have a 70% chance of winning if me buy one ticket, I would definitely buy a ticket all the time. That's a high percentage. You have a 70% chance. That's a high percentage, right? So in a society like this now, we have to ask the parents, we have to ask the aunties, the uncles, we have to ask all the adults that are surrounding these children to shape up, to start looking at the children as our tomorrow. One of the saddest things I've ever seen, and I'm a person that do it on purpose, one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Remember, I'm a Jamaican, I come up under the same regime, so I understand the boof, baff, koof, kaf, quef. Go over there, so shut them out. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk unless I tell you when to talk and these kind of things. I understand that. I've seen it. I grew up with it. I grew up seeing punishment where children, my neighbor, as a matter of fact, he was tied to a mango tree that was outside the front of their house, and an ant's nest was under the mango tree. And a him father strip him and tie him up, Beat him and left him tied up there. And when the ants them done bite up the youth, right? All them balls swell up big so. These are the kind of punishments that people are calling discipline. And I do realize that and we're not talking about government now, we're talking about what is in our hands to do. what is in our hands to change, because we cannot, as adults, always, I say, government, 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 government. When you realize the government not really do nothing, or government is slow in action, it is us that have to pick up, right? Because it's our life at the end of the day. At the end of the day, these politicians that you're looking at to come with some stroke of a pen and magic happens and everything is fixed and set in place, it's not realistic and it's not going to happen. For 100 different reasons, it's not going to happen. Right? So it is for us to step out and say, you know what? We have to live here generation after generation. Our children have to grow up here. And my God, man, if you can't think about yourself or your children, think about your children's children. Some will suffer. And you want your children to come suffer the same way or even worse. And then worse, when you up in an old age, you want to see your grandchildren suffering the way you suffered and even worse. That can't be. That can't be. So these babies are crying out, right? And it is for us to listen, and it is for us to jump into action. Okay? The youth talk about how they're witnessing one of the testimonies from a child. These are all children testimonies. How they've been sexually molested by a friend of their dad. And I have a video where I talk about it happening in Jamaica very prevalently. I mean, it happens all the time. And a lot of the times it's in the family. It's by an uncle or older cousin, them kind of something there, right? He talked about witnessing violence, seeing drive-by shootings, seeing walk-up shooting, hearing gunshots on a constant basis in the neighborhood where their grandmother lived, and they have to go stay with her sometimes, and all these things. These children are traumatized. We are raising a nation of traumatized children that will, and they're not getting any treatment for it. When soldiers go to war, what I know about here in the US, because I served in the army here in the US and I went to combat representing this country, so I can tell about when you come back from war and you have experienced certain things. Soldiers that go to war, when they come back from a war zone, there are things that are set up for them, set in place for them, counseling sessions, so they can grieve, so they can come to terms with what they witnessed, so they can heal, so they can navigate their way through these feelings and these urges, these desires, these triggers that set them off and make them act in ways that are not normal to act in society, that could end up hurting themselves or others. There are things set in place to guide them through. When these children live in these kinds of conditions, it is similar to living in a war zone. It is similar to growing up shell shock. It is similar to growing up with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Little girls or boys are raped, sexually molested, witnessing murders and all this kind of stuff, being bullied and then talked to by their own parents as if they're nothing, and them get beaten on top of beaten. Even now Jamaican parents are like, you can't say one and say, oh, that disrespect me, bust him ass, beat up him. They don't care. I've spoken to a few who have no plans to change their behavior. And I'm telling you that it's going to come right back to you, man. It's going to come right back to you. Nothing in place to help these children to heal. Now let's talk about what the government could be doing, but they're not doing. Then again, let's leave that where it's at. Because we've done this over and over and over again. Okay? We're still calling for CCTVs with a central monitoring point. It's funny to watch the videos from England or from China. And we're doing big business with China now. Right? Some people would even say China practically owns Jamaica now. So we're doing big business with China, who is high on the list of technology. You're telling me that we can't put our focus on security. Harsh Chang, a Chinese that, and he's our Minister of Security, and we're doing big business with China. If we could just put a little focus on security, put up the camera them all over the place. I've said it before, put Jamaica in a fishbowl. It's called a fishbowl, where you're seen from all angles. Anything you don't want nobody see you, do it in your house. But once you step out in public, you're public property. And you must conduct yourself as a good upstanding citizen of society out in public. Anyone is offended by that is who want to carry on like old animal in public and expect other people to have to accept your animalistic behaviors around us, humans. Other than that, there should be no objection. Put them everywhere. We can't depend on the citizens to put cameras up on their property alone. Some people say, why don't the citizens arm themselves, put cameras in their neighborhoods and all this? Listen, at Jamaica we are deal with here. People shoot out your camera, lick it down with stone, beat you up when them see you. Hey, informer girl, I watch you and carry news, go get police and these kind of things. So let the police do their job. Let the law do its job. And then we have technology where cameras could be placed in places that are unseen, that monitor a whole lot of space from angles unknown, unseen. And a central monitoring point where all the feed goes right into that central monitoring point. I've said that this would even create jobs. Because in order to run one of these rooms, I've seen it in England, in order to run one of these rooms, these camera rooms, the camera room have about 400 camera in there. In order to run one of these camera rooms, you have people that have to work shifts. And they're working night shift and day shift. And it's a full-time job for them. 8-hour shift on, 8-hour shift off, next person on. You know what I'm saying? Take over where you left off at, and your job is monitoring these cameras while police patrolling the area. So you can actually say, Squaddy, Unit 17 come in, Unit 17, okay, over there on Bourbon Street and Lincoln Avenue, there's a suspect or suspicious looking individual walking, and he has what looks to be a firearm in his hand right now. I urge you to get to that location. We will track him and they're able to track the individual. We will track him as he moves, and we will give you the direct. Right now he is at Bourbon and Lincoln. Get over there quickly, and then unit on its way. No siren, no nothing, just unit on its way, and you're monitoring the area, and you're telling them, okay, now he's turned off to Princess Street. Get down Princess Street. Okay, I think he knows you guys are coming, so he just ducked behind the White House on the left. That's 271 Crescent. Alright, there he is. Bam. I see it work. So why we can't employ the same thing? We have so many gully and lane and hills and valley and side street and road with no name. Name all these roads. Map out the place. That way when you're calling in tactical help, you have specific directions to give them that can be located through GPS coordinates. We've talked about all kinds of ways. Shot spotters all over the place. If a gun is bust in that area, it sends off like that, a vibration, a color vibration on a screen that tells you exactly that area where the gun bust come from. Swoop in upon that area there. And then with monitoring camera, okay, someone is seen running. Check the guy in the red shirt. I just see him throw something in the bush and he's running down Darwin Avenue. Alright, woo woo woo, running upon him. Until we employ modern technology to help us to fight crime in Jamaica, we will continue to have the same old results all over again. People get shot up in broad daylight, chop up in a them house, all kind of something. Suspect escaped in nearby bushes, nobody knows nothing, on to the next one. And the children are witnessing all this. And of course, let's talk about corruption and the level of corruption that there is that has fostered a I don't trust you attitude from the people to to the law enforcement officials that have been placed in that position to protect and to serve. A lot of the people, if you ask them will tell us that, I don't know who them are protect, cause no we, and definitely not we them serving. Shout out to all the good law enforcement officials out there. Enough on the dirty though, I want to know it. You understand? So there are so many angles to this, man. So many angles to this, but it can't just be a government thing. It has to be those elected officials working with the people to make things happen. Right? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. And remember again, hurt people, hurt people. Stop hurt the rotted picnic them. I'm out. Peace.